Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Coram and Shreve here with a look at the action in today's session, where we saw a rough close for the major indexes, and underneath the surface too, Ken, a lot of promising looking charts now have some pretty big blemishes on them.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We had been moving just nice and sideways on the indexes, holding above recent lows, but we took out those lows with conviction today. But we'll talk about three stocks. Tesla was up for a good portion of the session on strong delivery data out of China, but that stock reversed lower. Also, take a look at Adobe ahead of its earnings report next week, and finally, Quanta Services, an infrastructure firm that actually ended higher today.
All right, well, detailed analysis on those three stocks headed your way shortly. But first, let's take a look at the major indexes today. The Nasdaq down 2.8%. We had the S&P 500 down 2.4%. The Dow down 1.9%, and the Russell 2000 down 2%. So as you mentioned, Ken, undercutting key levels. We were saying how constructive it was to see the major indexes holding their gains or bulk of their gains and trading sideways after the late May follow through day. We wanted to see the Nasdaq hold above 12,000. We wanted to see it hold above its recent lows, and the 21-day, well, it's no longer the case anymore after today.
Yeah, so clearly we're under a little bit of pressure here. We did get a distribution day on the Nasdaq yesterday. On Wednesday, when it fell 0.7% in higher volume. Now you've got just a huge percentage decline, and volume increased from yesterday as well. It looks like, according to preliminary data. So it could be two straight distribution days on the Nasdaq, and this is just it's a very risky market environment. We got that sign of strength from the Nasdaq in late May. Doesn't mean that we were going to just rip higher into a new bull market. Market gives us clues every day on its underlying health. So we've got two negative signals in a row from the Nasdaq. So lowering exposure, kind of getting out of the market's way, probably makes sense here. We do have a very critical report on inflation tomorrow when the consumer price index comes out.
Yeah, which could definitely drive the action tomorrow. And I think you put that so well, Ken, that every day we get new clues that challenges us on our take on the market, on our stance, and we have to be able to react to that news and be flexible and be open to all sorts of scenarios that could unfold.
Yeah, I mean, we're just in a very volatile headline, driven market.
Exactly. Let's also analyze the S&P 500 here, because not only did it undercut some key levels today, but the weekly chart, which we've also been tracking, talking about potential resistance at the 10-week line, looks like we're seeing that in full force, at least as of today.
Yeah. I mean, it got close to the 10-week moving average this morning, but you can see just a decisive close near lows. It's near its weekly low right now. So we saw that with the IWM. We looked at that yesterday. That maybe that was a tell when the small cap index moved above the 50-day moving average on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday it was under some selling pressure, lagged badly, and then more weakness today. So that 50-day moving average, when a stock or an index is on a downtrend, it is often a resistance level, and it appears to be what's happening now.
That's exactly right. Okay, and next on our list, let's take a look at Tesla. That is TSLA, reversing lower, as you said, amid some news here, but the market pressure got a hold of the stock, so finishing down about 1% today. And this is a name that has not been looking that great for a little while. Tried to have a big upside reversal a couple weeks back, but it is just well off highs, Ken.
Yeah, it's really hard to see this stock resuming relative strength anytime soon, just because of the selling pressure and the downtrend that the stock is on. It doesn't mean that Tesla is not executing as a company, because again, the numbers out of China, the May deliveries were very, very strong. More than 33,500 cars delivered in May. May. That was up more than 200% from April. So Elon Musk still seems to be running a tight ship here, but doesn't mean that the stock is buyable. It's come hard off its highs, and it could try to firm up. You're just going to have to wait probably for a little while for a new entry to present itself here. But Tesla continues to execute, but just because the stock has come in sharply in price doesn't mean it's a good buy right now. Still on a downtrend, and the fact that the market sold this good news today just kind of shows you that the market's not really healthy right now.
That makes sense. And we've seen weakness in the software sector for quite a while, but let's check in on one of the big names in the group, and that is Adobe, which, as you mentioned at the top of the show, is set to issue its quarterly results next week. It looks like Adobe is trying to turn a corner here and trying to find a bottom with a low of 370 in May. It's now back above its 50-day line, which is trying to flatten after spending a long time headed lower. Ken, your thoughts on where Adobe stands and perhaps what kind of signal it could provide for the broader market, depending on the kind of reaction that we get to these results next week?
Yeah, well, I mean, make no mistake, this one is still on a downtrend, and it's been vicious selling in recent months, like a lot of other tech stocks. And Adobe, when they reported earnings 3 months ago, investors got a little freaked out because they lowered their revenue outlook only by a little bit, and they're not selling in Russia anymore, which really makes up a small part of their business. But the company during the conference call is still very optimistic about fundamentals. I like the fact that it hit a low here, and we talked about this 10-week moving average on the weekly chart, the 50-day moving average on the daily chart. It doesn't look like a resistance level anymore. So Adobe has popped above the 10-week line, and this was a stock that was up for a good part of today's session. So it's been showing relative strength. I think there's optimism that we could see a good earnings report next week. Still, obviously a risky buy with the stocks still far off its high. It's going to have a lot of overhead supply issues that we talk about. These stocks try to work their way higher after a sharp sell-off. They invariably meet the selling pressure from people who bought on the way down. That's the concept of overhead supply. And so Adobe's probably going to face it, but I do like the fact that the stock has rallied above the 10-week line and is making a pretty good case for a bottom here. We'll see what the results look like next week.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to see if that 10-week line can turn from resistance to support. But it all depends on those results and the reaction to those numbers, as you said, Ken. Okay, let's take a look at PWR Quanta Services. It does have an RS line blue dot on both the daily and weekly charts here. It's pulled in a little bit, but it looks like it's starting to form a handle on this cup base here, Ken, which is a welcome development, I think.
Yeah, in fact, a few stocks in this group are acting pretty well. Quanta Services, you can see the great track record of earnings and sales. You can see accelerating growth over the past couple of quarters, and to see a stock just forming the right side of a base here and approaching its high, it's near its low for the week, but clearly this stock with that relative strength line and new high ground is one worth watching. They provide infrastructures for a lot of interesting industries, not only for electric and gas utilities, but also for pipeline operators and the energy sector. So could be in the right place at the right time, and market seems to be optimistic about fundamentals here, like the relative strength. And not saying that this is destined for a heavy volume breakout, but when the market is kind of teetering, you want to always pay attention to stocks that are kind of bucking the trend and acting well. So Quanta Services is a great one for the watch list right now.
Yep. Thank you so much for that, Ken. And that is it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with more tomorrow morning on IBD Live, where we'll be joined by Evan Medeiros of Trade Risk. He uses a lot of automation in his trading, so he's able to stick to his rules no matter what conditions are like. So it'll be good to get an update from him on his strategies in current conditions and stocks that are on his radar. So make sure you check out investors.com/IBD Live for all the details on that. And we'll be back after the close with our Stock Market Today video to wrap up the week. We'll see you there, everyone.